Kamala Harris is lying, saying she'll keep us safe. But Kamala's been soft on crime since day one. As San Francisco District Attorney, Kamala let violent criminals go free, including Devondre Broussard, who brutally assaulted a man. And when Kamala put him back on our streets, he murdered 2 innocent men in cold blood. Kamala Harris has always put criminals first. Don't make America her next victim. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now. Let's talk about a poll that maybe people should be looking at for the 2024 election. No, I'm not talking about the one out of Iowa that tells you that all of a sudden a bunch of people in Iowa have said, no, I like the way things are going for farmers, and I like the way things are going in this country, and everything's wonderful. More illegal immigrants, please. More crime, please. More strife, please. That's what they called for, and now they support Kamala Harris, and the election's over. It's not about voter suppression or any of that stuff. It is just an honest-to-goodness poll by the most honorable pollster that has ever existed. And that's what the media will tell you. This person's always right, even when they're wrong. It's okay. They're the best that's ever been. But I don't want to talk about that poll. I want to talk about a poll done by the Marshall Project. And this was done inside prisons, including Alabama prisons. Guess what they found? Surprisingly, support for Donald Trump. Yes, in the Alabama prisons and prisons across this country, a poll was done, and they said people incarcerated support Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. Now, the numbers moved when Joe Biden got out of the race, more in Kamala Harris's favor, but Donald Trump is still in the lead. Now, some of these people aren't eligible to vote. These are people inside prison. Do we care? I'd say no, not really. But what's interesting about these numbers is that if you go and you look at the racial breakdown, even African Americans in prison, 30% of them, 30% of African American men in prison support Donald Trump. These are unheard of numbers. The numbers here for Republican candidates to get this kind of support from African Americans and people inside the criminal justice system is kind of surprising. Most people would assume that if you're inside the criminal justice system, that you're going to be leaning more towards Democrats because, after all, Democrats are weak on crime. And if you don't believe that, just look at what Kamala Harris said this week when asked, hey, are you for tougher penalties on people who are committing crimes in California? You know where you voted. You voted on this. How did you vote? Here's what she said.
How did you vote on Prop 36?
So my ballot is on its way to California, and I'm going to trust the system that it will arrive there. And I am not going to talk about the vote on that because, honestly, it's the Sunday before the election, and I don't intend to create an endorsement one way or another around it. But I did vote.
Yeah. Kamala Harris wouldn't even answer the question about do you want to be stronger on crime? Can't even answer the question. So I'm sure tons of people want a lot more of that. Now, the racial breakdown in prison is pretty interesting, too. It is 30% black, 31% white, and 22% Hispanic, 10% some combination of some of those things. But the point there is, oddly enough, the racial breakdown is less white in prison than it is in the general population, and Donald Trump is still winning these polls. So it's worth noting, maybe this is a number that might tell us something. With early voting tending to seem to favor Republicans this time around, and some of the core groups that you would think would go for Democrats showing more of a willingness to at least have some people peel off and go for Republicans and Donald Trump, maybe that Des Moines, Iowa poll is an outlier. It's not the reality. It's not putting the nail in the coffin of Donald Trump's political career. Maybe we'll find out on Tuesday, which we will find out on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe 3 Thursdays from now. But when we do find out, maybe we'll know that this person's poll wasn't necessarily meant to do anything except spin off headlines that said Kamala Harris has this thing in the bag. But we'll get there. We'll figure out exactly what's happening. But just interesting to note that a population you would think would lean heavily Democrat actually goes for Donald Trump.